Hello, welcome to Love Food, Hate Money, the show where we talk about food and we prove it by spending all of our money on it. I'm going to be your host, Jonah. This is co-host Courtney.
Hey.
And we have two more co-hosts to join.
Yes.
Two more guests.
Two more guests. Two more guests.
This is one of the first sets of friends that we paid for.
True, we bought these friends.
Yeah, many moons ago when we first started drinking.
Well, but we bought one of them. The other one doesn't have to work for their beer.
Yeah, that's a so yeah, we got Jon.
Hi.
And then the one that doesn't work for her beer, Becky.
Hello. And of course, if you listen to the show, you know that Jon does our editing and our original music. So this is really fun. And then Becky's his better half. So we got the best 2-for-1.
Yep. They help
Me
play
too?
test everything. This is not your hashtag me too. This is different.
God.
Maybe she sexually harasses you. I'm not sure.
Earlier, without no communication, Becky said something like, "Oh, I just got to dab inside real quick," and both Jonah and I, without looking in each other's eyes at all, just dabbed.
Just one motion, ready to go.
Did either of you see it?
No, that was just for us.
I have no recollection of saying those words.
You don't remember talking about
That's probably
dabbing?
not what you said.
No, she definitely.
not.
We were.
Something about dabs. I don't know.
It was dabbing off the meat.
Well, yeah, you guys owed me back taxes, and you cooked me steak.
Yep, steak dinner. It's the only way we can get the Jon RS, the internal Jon and New service.
And you asked me how I preferred my steak. You're like, "Oh, medium rare, fine." And I was like,
Sure.
"Yup."
I know what that is.
That's one of the fun things about you is we've been with you on your re-eating meat journey.
Yeah.
Like, because when we met you, you were vegetarian.
Flexitarian, yeah. Well, yeah. Oh, pescatarian.
There we go. You know what kind of food you eat.
I did. It was like a dumb, annoying thing that we connected on when we were dating.
I don't even think
First dating.
I was pescatarian, though, when we met. I think I was still eating chicken. And then you were like, I don't eat chicken. I was like, well, fuck. I will just not
Fine.
cook you chicken. I will only cook you random fish
You're
that I
like,
don't know how to cook.
I'm going to marry you so I can divorce you for your opinion.
Payback.
That's how that works. That's what marriage is
I
about.
brought you guys a gift.
What do we got?
Yeah, what are we drinking?
Oh yeah, we need to jump.
Nonsense.
We need to jump into the drinks for the day. This is a Cerberus unicorn. What the hell? Super duper nice.
Oh, you bought it?
I bought it because we had. I don't want more than 4 ounces.
What is it?
You don't get more than 4.
It's a sour.
It's a-
from
yeah.
Shipping animals out of Doral, Florida. We started getting them at my work. Actually, my buddy Thomas kind of like secured it. Like he went to Florida and he schmoozed and
He Florida
boozed.
manned them.
He Florida manned them.
That's good. Sour ale, strawberry, mandarin, peach, and black currant.
So he didn't say gay and then he could have this? Is that how that
Yeah,
works?
exactly.
Okay.
That's how you get stuff in Florida.
Yeah, here I got these little guys right here. These
This
are more,
is related in no way, except for that you're talking about Florida politics. But I was driving behind someone for work today, and there was a picture of Ted Cruz on their bumper sticker, and I could only see the top of it, which said "this man," and I was so determined to see what this man had done, so I kept trying to drive closer to them, and finally we got to a stoplight, and it said "this man ate my son,"
That's
and I
my
was
favorite sticker of
so
all time.
pleased because it could have gone one of 2 ways, and it went the correct way.
just for the love of my life, Jonah just
Jonah's
was
an idiot.
Okay, so this one was kind of my fault because we have
That was foamy.
we have 4 taster glasses out, and one of them is just a brandy. Was it
Little
Snifter.
snifter.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was brandy. Which what we got it like.
I
your
won
dad's
it
wedding.
at my dad's wedding for getting the most questions right about my own dad, which I just feel like I should have been exempt from winning that prize.
You're such
People
a
walk
good
in like-
daughter. Yeah, that. Why did it only foam in that one? Is there something about the?
I've noticed on pouring
That's physics,
these
baby.
smoothie, like because it's a smoothie
sweet,
style
sweet
salad.
Yeah, listen to the doctor.
I've noticed that they don't react well to hard pour at all. And some of them, and I know you didn't even pour it that hard. I just think it's because there's so much sugar, and it's just I'm not you guys. I can't
That was
just
fun.
like be like boom knowledge.
We just make shit up, though. It's not.
The
We're just
joke is that it's
guessing
a lie.
wildly.
So when you're sniffing this beer, look for the Google flurpins.
My favorite. Let's see. Tastes like. I mean, I already tasted a ton of the foam because I was dying.
I
on
like
it.
that.
4 ounces is good for me, and I'm gonna go ahead and say there's gonna be a lot of lip smacking.
Yeah, she's tangy.
That's what I like.
My
Right up your
problem
alley.
with sour beer and like gozes is that I like them. Like I think that tastes really nice, but there's no way anymore that I can get through like a whole serving unless the serving is 4 ounces, like a whiskey or a.
So you're like old man
You
heartburn
drink
kicks
4
in.
ounces of whiskey.
I'm sorry. Am I the only Irish person here?
He's like, just a
No,
single
just
serving.
the only drunk.
4 ounces of whiskey.
You heard it here first.
Serving.
Just a full tumbler of
Just,
whiskey.
ever drink a bottle of whiskey in a serving and just
Tell me
think that's
me
right.
that you're a beer tender and not a bartender without telling me.
God, you would get such good tips though because people would be smashed.
Oh, I mean,
That's
yeah.
gay bar
Well,
porn.
here's your drink, and it's just like that's the bottle. They're like, here's your drink.
I will never do a place that I'll never work.
You don't
with
want to be a
spirits.
mixologist?
No, I have a lot of respect for people that do, but I'll never do it
Why not?
because
Who hurt you? Was it the 4 ounce pour of whiskey?
I walked up to one of my coworkers last week or the week before, like after serving a guest, and I was like, I don't know why I'm in the service industry. I hate people so much.
I think that
But you hate yourself more, and that's why you're in the service
It's
industry.
called balance.
like, you ever hate someone so much but less than yourself where it felt right? That's a spot, baby. I think that, I don't know, for me, that's kind of, I don't necessarily like people for being people. I like people for the comedy in general, especially in the context of work where it's just like, yeah, like you're not even a person. You're a crazy entity with money that's just has no touch with reality.
I know what you're saying.
Jonah's like, let me dehumanize them, and then
It's like
If you don't picture them as humans, it's easier.
I mean, you're kind of like. There's a common thing that I think about, and it's like, how did you get here? Like, how did you get to this bar?
Hi,
Like,
I bet you're wondering how I got here. I think a slight introduction. Obviously we talked about that we paid for their friendship.
Yeah.
One of the first bars that we ever ended up going to regularly
being regulars that
is where we met Jon.
Oh, I didn't know that was your first bar.
That was-
like your first regular bar.
Yeah.
Like watering hole.
that, and then
For, like,
we had
beer.
you guys were our beer bar. We had a cocktail
Yeah.
bar that we were at like 4 nights a
That
week.
tracks. That also tracks.
We were making a lot more money than we knew what to do with at the time, and so we just
How
spent
many
every night at a
spicy
bar.
potatoes?
We were at like a collective 60,000 spicy
But
potato
that was
tacos.
like back when that was money. Now that's like $5.
Yeah, no, that was when
That's
did-
like an apartment now. Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, also the place that Jon was working at the time was exceptionally cheap.
Yes.
I think that was part of the draw of that bar.
still
was,
is exceptionally cheap. They're
They
doing
were
like
like a
dollar
$1
hams now.
to $2 or 1 to 2 spicy potato sign place.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was great.
They still are. I don't know if they're still great, but they're out there. They're hanging out.
Well, and then Jonah was like, "There's this girl that goes to Bottle Shop who has a fluffy pug, and you need to see it. This is very important." And you would take like, I have creepy pictures of Albus that he just like took while you were in there before we knew you.
Yeah, there was the pictures of the fluffy pug, and then we first started talking at a wine tasting specifically. You were pretty drunk. You're like, I'm dating the bartender.
That is true. I think we were engaged at that point, probably.
We were
think-
engaged to be engaged.
But yeah, having you work at a place that gave me unlimited access to alcohol that was also 1 mile from our home was a dangerous game, especially, again, as you were saying, when Uber was like the minimum, where it was $5 to get there and Jon could
everything.
I
drive
think
me home.
my favorite season working there ever was after the holiday that we got bikes from your mom. As like, she was like, "Oh, you'll ride these all the time in Arizona." And I was like, "I won't. I actually don't live close enough to bike everywhere. And I'm not one of these crazy people that like are masochistic and like want to like go on 45-minute bike rides between places in the dead of summer to get to a bar. That's just not me."
Do you want to sweat? No, thank you.
But we had this whole entire season where we thought it was acceptable to drunkenly ride our bikes to and from our house to Bottle Shop.
I like that because that's a
Dangerous and
scary
actually-
stretch of road.
It is it really is a scary stretch of road.
No, most of it, we went through the neighborhood.
No, we cut through the neighborhood, but still, like up
through
and
the
down.
neighborhood and
It doesn't
drove
matter.
straight
Yeah,
to
but
the
we
end.
had
when you get
two
proximity.
tiny lights on our bikes. So obviously
were
everyone's
very
We're talking,
safe.
It's
are
like
you
a
talking about
force
the people?
field. people and
And
like
mostly the
even some
drivers
of the
in this
traffic
area.
through that
Yeah.
area, like and that
You know how many
that
bikers I've
part
almost
of
killed in the
Tempe.
city? I haven't yet.
I'm the problem.
I haven't yet.
So we've kind of mentioned this already, but when you guys met, you weren't eating meat at all. You were a pescatarian. Becky, were you raised like without eating meat, or were you raised,
raised by people?
Yeah, were you raised by humans?
Pescatarian wolves is crazy.
Mom was like very much the now trendy 5 almonds a day, whatever. Snack is a handful of almonds
Yeah.
mom, where she was the Slim Fast, the V8. So we were not raised like with any real restrictions, but we like did not eat fast food. My mom very rarely cooked beef, and if she did, it was like a super lean cut of beef that she threw in the crock pot. Like it was a lot of chicken, a lot of really overcooked rubbery white fish, like which at the time was all I knew, so I thought it was
It was
great.
fine, yeah.
But it was like always healthy, no butter. It was always margarine. Like I was raised basically with very minimal fat in my diet,
Interesting.
which I think is
Okay.
why I'm still a little bit hesitant to eat
It's
like
why you
fatty
don't put
cuts of
enough
meat.
butter in my vegetables.
That's true. Whereas I like to say that Jon was raised in the school of butter and salt. His mom is like anything that can be added a bunch of butter and salt, that is how it's cooked. Any vegetable, any rice, there's no limit to the
It's a
amount of
delivery
butter.
device.
You
Yeah.
discovered my all-time every single meal the other month.
I did.
It is very recent.
Would you like to tell them what is the
You
meal
have a
that you-
hyperfixation meal?
What's a
Is this your special interest meal?
meal? Can you describe that?
So that would be like, you can eat this meal anytime, all the time,
It'll
for
never get old.
months. It never gets old. You can keep eating it. Maybe once in a while you get sick of it and you have to change to something else, but
Yeah.
you can come back to it.
Yeah, it's probably the most telling thing about my character. White
to-
buttered rice, preferably butter, but if it's just like plain old white rice, I can do that.
Okay.
A grilled vegetable, broccoli's been slapping lately because
Dab.
I'm over 30.
Jab.
And grilled chicken with her preference of marinade, which oh my god, dude, the most recent one you've done, I want a pound. Like I want you to just batch
I want to
make
pound
as
it.
much as you possibly can. That's never going to happen for me.
What is it?
It's like a sesame tahini
Ooh.
marinade. It's found it on the internet, like I did with my other
You
recipes.
found stuff on the internet?
Found stuff on the internet.
I'm so proud of you
crazy.
though, because you've gone from like cooking chicken and being like, well, I hope we don't get sick, to like straight up making some of the most like juiciest, like melt in your mouth chicken I've ever had off of a grill, to the point where like I would rather have that than fast food. And that is saying something, because I would rather have fast food like almost like 98% of the time, even with the best meals, like the good ones, the bad in between. Like I am always like, oh, this
Well,
might be
this is
enhanced by a
fine, but
10-piece
like-
nugget.
I do think I finally did to you what I had done to myself a few years ago, which I told you the story, but
It's inappropriate.
one of the most tragic things that has happened to me in my adult life was one of the first times Jon and I visited Chicago, and my mom was like hyping up, she's going to make all this stuff on the grill. She's going to cook. And it's like, yeah, there's nothing better than like having a home cooked meal, which is why like you guys came over and cooked for us today. It's my favorite thing in the world. And I'm all excited. Like we're flying in and my mom's going to make this food, and she makes all of it and she puts it out. And I was like, oh no. Like I have finally reached a point where I'm a better cook than my mom, and I now can no longer have this experience of having a home cooked meal that I like love and enjoy. And then Jon went and ate at his parents' house last week, and his
the buttered
mom
rice is
made
still better
chicken,
than yours.
and you came home and said that her chicken wasn't as good as mine. And
I'd had the 10 of 10 chicken like 2 nights prior, and then my mom was like, "What do you want for your birthday meal?" And I was like, for some reason I didn't.
Chicken nuggets.
Yeah, chicken. What I've been doing the most, and as I was driving into my folks' place, I saw the pizza place that I like, and I was like, "Fuck! I didn't ask for this special pizza."
What's the pizza place you like?
Yeah,
It's
tell
not-
us about the special pizza? Is it QT?
It's Sardella's.
Pizza and wings.
But what pizza?
It is. Well, it started as the buffalo chicken pizza.
Okay.
And then when I
Okay.
was
Oh,
vegetarian,
you-
it was just buffalo chicken pizza, hold the chicken, and
So it's buffalo
or no,
sauce.
it's like, what is it? Cheese? Yeah,
It's a
'Cause I-
buffalo ranch flatbread at that point.
yeah,
Not even that. It's just cheesy bread with sauce.
Does
So
it
then,
have
like, I,
celery
like-
on it or something really weird too?
it does. So
They put celery on
so
it?
then, so then, like I look back. Okay, one. Like, let me finish. Let me finish.
You don't know. We have to sit and simmer celery pizza.
Hold on. We gotta sit in this moment with this celery pizza that holds.
Are you looking up the
Jon's
ingredients?
heart.
Yes, I'm gonna look up what's on this pizza.
Celery's already.
So, anyway, so I got to my mom's house. She'd made like a lemony chicken, whatever, and it was just dry, and it wouldn't usually bother me if I hadn't gotten spoiled. And what are you supposed to do? You're supposed to look your mother in the face.
You
and
go,
like,
this is mid, Mom.
be like, my wife made better chicken than you, just so that you know.
That's what you do.
As a good Catholic son, that is what you're called to do.
Oh, you were supposed to guilt everyone.
That's right.
Especially.
You just shoot it off. Is it not as embarrassing?
No, it's as embarrassing as you think. I was just gonna kind of let it.
She fully like sheathed her weapon and was like, "It's fine."
She's like, "I want my husband to defend himself."
It's a cheese pizza without pizza sauce, with barbecue sauce, bacon, chicken, ranch, and celery.
My favorite pizza. What you're telling me is that my favorite pizza for years and years can't technically be classified as a pizza.
Pizza, no pizza sauce.
I also like it just says
Barbecue.
cheese. It doesn't say what kind of cheese. It doesn't specify.
Honestly, the moment that you just throw
cheese.
hot sauce and ranch on it, it doesn't matter.
Oh yeah, you get hot sauce and ranch added to it.
No, that's how it is. Like if you're,
It's not. You must be asking.
The reason,
for-
So the reason that you order it separately is because if you ordered it like, hey, I would like your buffalo chicken without chicken, they ring it in. They ring it in as a specialty menu
barbecue
item,
chitem
which
pizza?
has a higher
I'm reading
cost.
the barbecue pizza.
Even though you're not
That
getting
makes a lot
everything
of
on there.
more
So
sense on
what
why
I found out
barbecue
as like a poor person is how to order it and save $5 and still get what you want just by being very hyper specific with their menu system. So if you ordered a cheese pizza, no pizza sauce, add hot sauce and ranch, you get the same thing, just no chicken, and it was like $5 less.
Well, so then
That
you
is
were
what's
getting
on
the
it. I did
celery
read
then.
the wrong one.
I guess I was skimping on the celery. That was for
Really?
special occasions. And I'm also
Cutting
sorry
yourself
because
off.
I don't think that your show has introduced you. I don't think is a pour on your thing.
No, I'm
Poors.
not known as a poor on this
Okay.
podcast.
I'm
But
the pooer on the podcast.
But
Come in.
hi, Frank. And I look at those things that I ate and I wonder why for so long I had so many like abdominal issues and like felt so terrible all the time, like late teens into like meeting Becky. Like I was just like, man, I'm convinced that there's something like really wrong with me inside. I'm probably dying.
Yeah.
You know? And then you just stop eating that every single day and you realize that that's not what's killing. Like you're
That's what was
alive.
killing you.
It
And I
was
think-
killing you.
I think that's a funny, for me specifically, like regarding health and eating. Like I grew up eating absolute horse piss.
Dude, me too.
And I felt great.
No, I felt great. I felt great to a point.
every time I try to like introduce more healthy food into your diet, you start having gastrointestinal
It's just
distress.
like a full-on reflex where my body is like, I
It's too
noticed
healthy.
that this is good for me. And what if you shat yourself today? And I'm like, I don't want to. And it's like, but you ate a bean.
Do you have a sign in your house, like a day since
It
last
just got
incident?
reset this week.
Yeah. It's at like 2, I think.
Mine. It happened this year.
But I think I can't think of a time where I was in more gastrointestinal distress than when Courtney's family started doing keto. And like we spent a lot of time together, and so like ate a lot of meals over there, and they're all delicious. But it was just
Oh, it all
like,
tastes good.
because there's it's hard to go wrong with a meal when it's like, yeah, our diet right now is a chicken breast, 18 pounds of cheese, and bacon and guacamole, and just like eat that. That'll be good for you.
Health.
That's the pyramid. Yeah.
That's the whole pyramid. It was the whole base level of the pyramid is just cheese. And it was always good meals, but like there got to a point where I was like, I don't remember the last time that I pooped. Like just pure pain. Just like, am I going to need to go to the doctor?
So it's
Like me on a vacation.
because that food does the exact opposite to me, where it's just like, actually, it's
Oil
all
slick.
coming out right now, and you're dying.
You guys keep it real.
Oh yeah, This is a shitty podcast for shitty people.
Shitty
And
people.
communists.
And it's a communist.
And communists.
Look, if you aren't with it, if you don't believe in communism and shitting your pants, why are you here?
Well, that's why I felt like you never bought me as a friend. I just felt like we were all friends to begin with, you know?
I feel like you shit too.
I don't
Nice.
think you finished the story of how you bought Jon as a friend.
We paid him money.
we went to Bottle Shop a lot. Like a lot. And
eventually we learned that him and Logan were different people, and that was really
It's not your fault. You have face blindness.
And like, I always wonder this of when we become regulars at places, because we tend to go back to places we really like and become regulars. I always wonder from the bartender standpoint of like, oh, fuck, it's them again.
It's all situational, right? Because
at this moment he's like, shit, they're in my house.
It's like, it's gone too far.
Oh, no,
The
they're
bit
gonna
has
kill
gone
me.
too far.
I thought they were going to kill me. No, there are, and your listeners, feel free to weigh in. I feel like there's varying degrees of regulars. So you guys were on the good, like you were the good witch, you know? And I say good witch because like no matter what, like you're a regular somewhere, you've pissed somebody off behind the bar, whether you meant to
Oh,
or not.
yeah,
like,
at
it
least
just
once.
happens. And it's just like a situational, like how your day is going. Like sometimes y'all walk in at like 9:50 to get around. And it's like, we close at 10. And my brain, my curmudgeon cantankerous brain, I'm just like, you know, we close at 10, but then you get to know people and you're like, oh, they know you close at 10. They want to slam a drink and say hi and like hang out and like have this whole thing. And it ends
And
up
also like we'll put the
We want to
chairs
stack
up.
chairs.
right. Like there's varying degrees. And again, I hate people. But I love
Which
you
is why
guys.
we can't wait for this interview to end so
Yeah,
we
I
can
know,
leave.
right?
We're terrified.
No, but you guys were the good regulars because it's different. Like if you walk in, you can tell when a regular is like industry or if they at least get it. And if they get it, then that's fine. It's more like the regulars that are just oblivious and
They're
they
just
don't.
staring at you and you're staring at them.
I feel like I'm just rambling to say that you can tell when someone respects your time or not. And if
Mhm.
someone respects my time as a human, as a bartender or otherwhes, like it's easier to get along with people that respect you.
Yeah.
Weird.
What?
Fucking weird.
That's foreign.
Meanwhile, Becky, you know, you've kept me, working past close all of our relationship. You're just always coming into the bar at close.
Yeah.
Yeah.
closing the bar, not even putting up your chair,
Not even putting on my chair.
not even working for
Not
her
even
beers.
pulling drinks forward when you get them out of the fridge.
like an
Rude.
asshole.
That's a monster move.
Like I don't work at your place of employment.
You walk in there like with a cat's curiosity and like just
Pushing drinks off the bar onto the ground. Like, it doesn't look like John's working very hard. Let me just break a glass.
In a while since you cleaned the spot on the floor and
that
you're
was
just like
called-
pouring stuff on it.
That was called a flawless segue to get the attention off of myself.
Well, I think something that's really important to note is Becky is one of the best home cooks I've ever met. And that's not just making shit up. Like she is like when we first got to know you, you would bring food to the bar and I'd be like, holy crap, that smells amazing. And you'd be like, here, taste it. And I'm like, first of all,
You're like, get your fingers out of my mouth.
like,
I could have had a better delivery method. That's true.
well, for me, I'm like, am I going to eat this stranger's food? Yeah, okay, I am. It smells great. I'm going to try it. And your food was always excellent. And I think over the years that we've known you and having been to your Thanksgiving, which is something I want to talk about because that's very important, but your food is excellent and it continues to have gotten better over the years. How did you get into cooking? Like, was that something you did growing up or was that?
Yeah, my mom was like, again, she was a quintessential home cook. It was for her, I think, driven by health, but it was a lot of like, that was one of my chores as a kid. I helped with meal prep, like peeling potatoes, dumb stuff. And then as I got older, I was lucky. My parents were really supportive of like me exploring with cooking. If I wanted to try to make a meal for the family, like everyone would eat it. And I'm sure I made a lot of really terrible meals. But really my like starting to cook more was when I was in grad school. I was really, really broke like anybody else who's in grad school and also really, really busy. And I really didn't have time to do anything other than like throw stuff in the crock pot. But you throw, as I was telling you guys before, like you make enough jar of salsa and chicken breast in a crock pot. That's the driest, most just horrific thing, especially when you're on like day 4 of reheating this like shredded chicken you made. And you're like, man, there's got to be a better way to do
chicken.
this. So yeah, I mean, I ate a lot of salsa chicken. I'm not going to lie to you. That was one of my staples. That and just a jar of pasta sauce on some pasta.
At the same time?
Yeah. Pasta sauce and pasta at the same time. I know it's a crazy combination.
Salsa chicken and, I mean...
Oh, no. Pasta and pasta sauce. It's like, I mean, it's
See, you thought you were being cheeky, but all I heard was like, yeah, salsa chicken and then some pasta sauce. It's fucking delicious.
Yeah.
It's Italian Mexican.
Mex-Italian, actually.
I'm going to add that in my cooking book.
My cooking book.
But yeah, I did a lot of cooking through grad school that was really just survival. And then once I graduated from grad school and actually like had a job, I was like, oh my God, like now I have all this free time. I can actually do things with it. At the time I was in a relationship with someone who only wanted chicken breast tenders cooked in the toaster oven with no seasoning and
Still is.
It wasn't me, but it could be me.
And plain rice for his meal prep. So I kind of was like, okay, I'm just
Listen,
telling the truth.
Your ex was a monster in a lot of ways, and he got a lot of things wrong, but there's one thing that he got right.
Oh, Ryan, if you're hearing this podcast, that's the one legacy that you left behind.
Also, learn to spell, bro. Bye.
But yeah, no, I think I kind of got the freedom to experiment with foods I wanted to eat because I was meal prepping for someone who really just wanted the basics. And I was like, well, I don't want to eat toaster oven chicken every day. I did that for the last 3 years, and now I actually have like some money to spend.
Now I can make toaster oven turkey.
I think that my biggest like journey through home cooking was with Pinterest and realizing really quickly how many recipes on Pinterest were just straight garbage.
Oh yeah.
I am still not like a recipe maker. I'm still a cooker from recipes I find online. I will modify things like as I go, but for the most part, I still need the guidance of something. But I learned very quickly that like there were certain blogs I could trust, and there were certain blogs where you start to like, kind of like learn. You're like, yeah, that's not going to turn out good, or like,
Pinterest is so much fun to watch and be like,
yeah.
Oh,
well, you see these recipes where it'll be like, hey, you're going to put, whole uncooked chicken breasts and whole uncooked onions and all these things in a pan, and you're going to cook it for 10 minutes and it's going to be done. It's like, I just know when I look at that recipe, I'm like, there's just no way. Like, yeah, I'm going to put raw onions in a no. So you start to learn, and then from there, but that really, it's just, I have a few blogs I love, and I just will make a recipe and then try to figure it out.
You're so that way that you make fun of me for not being that way. Like for when like I'll come in, like when I try to occasionally cook a meal, you're like, oh, you followed that to the letter. You're like, oh, it tastes different. And I'm like, well, I followed the instructions. And you're like, oh.
Yeah. Okay, but this is the best story that I have of John's ability to follow things to the letter, because I just think this is the sweetest but funniest thing. So when Jon and I were very first dating, I was making a lot of tofu because we weren't eating a lot of meat. And I had something I wanted to make, but I was working all day and I wanted to cook it right when I got home. So I sent Jon a text and I was like, hey, can you press this tofu for me? Can you just like wrap it in a towel, stick it on some plates, and like put some books on top of it, just like something heavy so it presses the water out. I didn't give more direction than that because to me that made sense. And I got home and I'm just like, where's the tofu? And I'm like looking around and there's just these like plates sitting on the table and I can't find it. And then I finally like look under the plates and I realized that Jon had stacked every heavy cookbook that we owned on top of this thing of tofu and left it for like several hours until it was maybe a half an inch thick.
It said to squish the fucker.
It's so pressed.
You said press. You didn't
And it
say
was pressed.
how hard.
And I like at that point was like, I have to still make food, so I just cooked the tofu. It was very crispy and leathery.
I don't think I would have ever thought that you could press that much liquid out of tofu.
See,
to get
in
to
our
that
house,
point.
we believe in innovation, creative innovation.
If you squeeze it, it will come.
I love that though, because like I feel like that's almost just a man thing, because Jonah Jonah and I met in culinary school, but there are times when he cooks and I'm like, who taught you this? Like, my favorite time was the time you made accidental cheese, and then I had to fix dinner.
That sounds like a band name.
It was more music than food at that point.
How do you accidentally make cheese?
You throw too much acid into a cream-based sauce too fast, and it immediately breaks.
Yeah.
Like LSD?
Was it
Yes.
good cheese?
No, I had to fix it.
I mean, it was the beginning of mozzarella. It was, yeah.
Promise.
It was. I don't remember what I was even making. It was
You
like a
were
cream-based
making a pasta sauce, and I was in the living room, and you brought a spoon over, and you're like, "Can you try this?" And I was like, "Why does it look like that?" And you were
Accidental cheese.
like, "Can you just try it?" And I was like, "Okay." And I was like, "Why is it chewy? I thought this was a sauce." And you were like, "Well, I think I made accidental cheese." And I was like, "Is that what you were trying for?" And you were like,
"Well, no, it was in the name, accidental.
No,
otherwise it's intentional."
I didn't do
cheese.
that on purpose." And
I like though that I feel like this is also like it's jogging my memory of some of why did I get into cooking is like you're saying like I fixed it, and it was like that mentality of I was so broke that like when I made a meal that wasn't good, throwing away a week's worth of food was not an option.
Yep.
So then it was like, okay, what can I take out of my spice cabinet, or
Thanks,
what
Frank.
can I add to this to make it like slightly more palatable if I fucked it up?
yeah,
How
You
can
know,
make
and I think
this
that's a huge part
a
of learning to
non-waste?
cook is just being able to be like, hey, this isn't the best, but like I'm not just gonna ditch it. Like I'm gonna try to experiment with what I can,
yeah.
Don't give up on me. You're gonna be okay, chicken. No.
I think that is a huge part of cooking, though, and maybe people who do only use recipes, it's a hard learning curve of when did I go wrong? Where did I go wrong? When did I overmix it? Why is it too wet? And trying to like stop.
Why? Why is it too wet?
But knowing what you can do to solve those problems is like the makings of a great cook.
And I think that's what came with time, right? It was like I went from being able to like just follow a recipe, like you say, where like you just kind of will look at it, to being able to go like, hey, this recipe
As
might
they
say to cook
intended.
this for 10 minutes, but I can see that
not
shit
what
is
you
done
wanted.
after
Why is it what you
5.
said?
Yep.
I'm not just going to keep cooking this garlic until it's burnt to a crisp. I'm going to,
Like,
or
it's
how many
very
recipes
brown.
are like, hey, let's put the garlic in at the same time as everything else. And you make enough recipes where you're like, yeah, that's, even if the recipe says to add the garlic with everything else, I'm not going to do that
Yeah.
because then I'm going to have a bunch of burnt garlic.
You're also gonna add 18 times the amount of garlic.
To get any
Oh,
of the-
always more garlic than it says.
Mind you, I'm still not sure I understand what the word means. Do you feel like some of these recipes like gaslit you?
You still don't know what the word means. You're right. It's fine.
Hold on, does that work in context? Well, like kind of.
No, because
saying,
they're not
like, yeah,
coming
but-
back to me and telling me I did it wrong after the fact.
Yeah, because if you
But what if you
but if you reread that part, it would say the same. They'd be like, yeah,
That's
no,
what I'm
do it.
saying. That's what I'm saying.
I don't think the recipes have enough active participation to be gaslighting me.
Are you saying you don't read the recipe?
I will say though,
So you're saying you know how to read.
I just saw a TikTok of a lady recently who was reading comments on food blogs of recipes, and it was recipe fails. So this lady commented and she was like, well, I subbed applesauce for milk in this muffin recipe and it just didn't turn out like muffins. Like, what did I do wrong?
Isn't that your
It's-
favorite subreddit?
It's one of my favorite subreddits. It's called I Didn't Have Eggs. And it's all people just commenting things like that. Like, I didn't have eggs, so I subbed applesauce.
The day
and
you
it just
found this, it
didn't-
was so beautiful
I love
for
it
you.
so
You were
much.
on it literally for 24 hours straight.
It's just, I haven't slept. I haven't eaten.
And she kept sending me meme after meme. I was like, yeah, I get it. It's really funny.
It is really funny. My all-time favorite one that I've seen on that subreddit was someone being extremely mad because they were making some sort of recipe for an apple cider braised pork chop or something.
Yeah.
And they used apple cider vinegar instead of apple cider.
That was just on TikTok.
And
Like,
yeah.
That was the one I showed you. Yeah.
They were quite upset with the outcome of the recipe. And then someone's like, yeah, that's not.
No,
Yeah. If you
same.
used the right thing and read the recipe.
Yeah. Also,
Wow.
and that's like, I think what we're talking about too, with like the logic of cooking. Like, there is no recipe I would ever read that would say, like, use a cup of apple cider vinegar that I wouldn't like second guess, like, oh, that's wrong, right? But some people just
You're like-
follow it so blindly. And I think that's where you run into trouble
Gang,
with
gang.
recipes of, developing that sense of
It's
like,
what
oh,
they
something in
wanted.
this recipe is wrong, or I'm reading it wrong, because there's no way there would be that amount.
Right. It's like the subbing salt for sugar thing of like, no,
Yeah.
something is not right. I got to think about this for
Yes.
a minute. So Becky, have you worked in the food and beverage industry?
Not at all. No, never. No service industry, nothing, restaurants, anything like
And you
that.
still
Why
know how
is
to
she
treat
washing her
people.
hands
That's
right now?
crazy.
But I work in healthcare, so I
Yes.
think it's a different version of a service industry. It still is a lot of people facing, dealing with unhappy customers. It's just not customers that necessarily chose to be there in the first place.
Knowing what you do for work, that is very funny. And a little dark, which is great.
But also surprisingly respectful.
Yeah, I love that. And then, Jon, obviously we know you as a beer tender. Like, how did you get into the industry? Was that your first industry job?
That was my first craft beer job, but my first job ever was McDonald's.
You were a McDonald's boy?
Okay, we need to know everything.
That actually changes a lot of the trajectory of this conversation is straight through the golden arches.
Oh no. I didn't know that we were going to hamburger college today. Oh, you don't know? You're gonna know.
Oh, we know. I know. I don't know. Wait, do you not know?
No.
You don't know about hamburger college?
Is this why we connect?
You guys are
Yes.
lovers in an dangerous space time. It is known.
Yeah, so I was one of those weirdos that actually you're gonna get a real kick out of this, Becky. So
It's gonna explain
You
a
said
lot.
that like someone from the 1920s. You were going to get a real
it's gonna make sense. When I was 15, I wanted more money that I could spend on dumb music shit.
Nothing has changed.
Nothing changes.
Time has
So-
passed.
I was brainstorming and I was like, what's the quickest way that you can make money legally? And I
That was
found,
after the illegal story. It was like, what's
Well, no,
the
I
quickest way you
found-
can make money? And you're like, cool, drugs.
well, yeah, right. I found places that would hire you before you turn 16. Like I don't remember. Do you guys know what it is? Like there's like a terminology for it. Like you could work as a student for a certain amount of hours per week, still get paid prior to being 16, but you had to be 15. It was like this.
It was like 15 and a
Weird.
half,
Yeah, it was
especially
like-
here in Arizona.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not child labor, but almost.
Yeah. So I opted in.
Daddy like.
Daddy did because my first gig was at this McDonald's. It was a new build because where we lived, like they're still developing out. So it was on your way to Lake Pleasant. And actually,
Oh.
yeah. So now that area that it still stands, the Lake Pleasant McDonald's, which is near the.
It's been tainted by the Watkins.
Yeah, basically. I used to listen to Lamb of God CDs in the first drive-through window. As a cashier.
Yeah.
In the hole.
And
Gotta
then
love the whole job.
I had a gift. I was gifted a position there and I didn't accept it and realize what it was then. And I was a dishwasher for a while. And if I could go back in time, and I've said this 100 times to you, Becky, if I could go back in time and find a way to be able to wash dishes for 9 hours a shift for 40 hours a week and make the same kind of pay as a bartender, I would do that 100% of the time.
I think I couldn't put you in contact with someone.
There's the stipulation. I need to be able to have like a
yeah.
AirPod in.
Oh yeah, that's like the MO for
Well, my favorite thing now is the place you work doesn't call it a dish pit. They call it the,
The
dish,
dish
palace.
That's what I'm fucking saying, dude. So at I'll just leave their name out. Just whatever. Where I work now, during festival season, I'll kill to be in the dish palace. Oh man.
I just want to be
Because
there
the
with
thing
my
is,
glasses
you're making the same,
and
if
my
you're making the
rag.
same money regardless
Yeah.
on this communist podcast, if you're making the
pooled
same money
house.
regardless, then I don't mind like the shitty jobs, and I feel like there has to be people to just be like, yeah, I'll go clean the toilets. I don't fucking care. Like,
Yeah.
and that's who I've always. I'm the Charlie Day at our bar. Like,
He's got the conspiracy theories.
I do.
He's
I
got
really
the-
do.
Birds
We're living in a
aren't real.
simulation.
So you worked at McDonald's,
Yeah,
but you
for
just
about
worked in
a
their little
year and
dish
a half.
pit? A year and a half.
Yeah, I did cashier first, front or both windows, and direct customer facing. I never really did much prep. I did dishwashing and then just general tidy up.
Did you ever actually do any of the cooking? If that's what they call it at McDonald's, I feel like that's a really loose.
If I did, it was like a day where they needed someone to fill in, and then they're like, Well, we got this 15-and-a-half-year-old.
He can do it. He can cook for the masses.
He's got this. That's
Yeah.
pure. Did
But
you
yeah.
have to go to hamburger college? Is that something that everyone goes through? Or is that like an opt-in?
The only reason I know is it called? I think it's Hamburger University is what it's called.
Oh,
Yeah, I think it's
So-
yeah.
prestigious.
The first band that what Becky?
What the fuck is Hamburger University?
Oh, it's the McDonald's has like a training program. Like it's a higher tier of a McDonald's employee. I don't know if it still exists, but
You're
it's
telling me this is not a bit. This is a
No,
thing
you
that
can
exists.
actually. You should pull it up on your phone right now
because I just feel like this is a bit.
no.
type it in
There's
your
plenty-
seriously. Type in Hamburger University on your phone.
There's plenty of time to gaslight, but this is an actual.
This time they're not gatekeeping.
No, that's a
I don't think
real.
you're using that word
Gaslight,
correctly.
girl boss, keep.
It's
I can't live, laugh, love like this.
It's a real. I can't remember why I know about it.
Wait, I thought your mom worked at McDonald's when you were a kid.
Yeah, no, that was before I was alive.
Oh. She was only barely alive before you were alive.
I resemble this statement.
I have an answer to this question.
Okay, go ahead.
And this says that Hamburger University is a training facility at the McDonald's Corporation global headquarters in Chicago, Illinois, and instructs high potential restaurant managers, mid-managers, and owner-operators in restaurant management. Hamburger University's mission is to become an organizational cultural hub, introducing a continuous education process for the value chain and transforming knowledge into actual business results.
Oh, so there's no way John was invited then.
I was never invited to this.
Never went to Chicago.
So also,
Archland.
this being my first service industry gig, the reason that I ended up leaving is because I was such a prude. And the first time
prude.
that I ever, because I think the latest they'd let me work then was 10,
still
10
sipping
o'clock.
the.
I have an incredibly important update.
Go ahead.
I just want you to know that over 275,000 people have graduated with a degree in hamburgerology.
Oh, hamburgerology.
Wait,
And
so
I would just
found
like
your new
you.
calling.
I would like you all to know that I know one of those people. It wasn't me,
To
but
this
I
day?
know one of those people. Yes. Well, I mean, not that.
Still
No, we're not
homies?
we're not like on amazing terms.
So we can't
but-
get them on the podcast.
No, we can't get them on the podcast. That's how it connects, though. Is that how I know about Hamburger University? Is I was in the first band I was ever in. The guitar player, him and I were best friends, like through all of high school. He started McDonald's, I think, the same week that I did, and had a very different trajectory than I did. Where he ended up like. He did what you do when you're from where we are, and he knocked somebody. And they went to Michigan. He was like, well, I got to go be with my kid in Michigan. We're like, yeah, that's probably the responsible thing to do is to be with the child that you made. So he went to Michigan and then just continued on the McDonald's track. And they, you know what? From what he told me, he's happy. Like he's happy in that job. They take care of their their management really well. Some of them take care of their management very well.
The funny asterisk on all the like corporate fast food nonsense where it's like, yeah, there's like 5 happy people.
Yeah.
But I mean, but to their credit, like it doesn't work all the time, but you know, they put him through school, like not just
Hamburgerology.
And you know what? He's really happy with his degree in hamburgerology. He does a lot with it on a
got a
daily
master's.
basis.
He did his undergrad in French fries. He's just really proud of his
It
accomplishments.
looks
will
good on
say-
a resume, guys.
I will say it does look good on a resume. It got me so many gigs. Editing this podcast, I threw it on there, and they.
That's how we found you.
Hired.
On that note, launch the Patreon.
Yeah, truly.
There's going to be so much weird content on the Patreon.
You shared some with me. It's going to be pretty cool. Anyway, sorry for the tangent.
No,
I didn't
that's
know
great.
that McDonald's is going to open up a
No,
door.
this is beautiful.
McDonald's is the only door. It's
You
opening up the
spoke to
archway.
Jonah's soul.
Yeah.
Now, fast food is like a special level of nonsense and fun that
Sorry. Go ahead.
I know
I think that working in so McDonald's is my first. I guess that was. That's service. It doesn't
that's
feel like
service.
service.
That's
it just
industry.
feels like servitude. It doesn't feel.
Same.
After that, I got out of. I worked at a UPS store for a long time. Worked at a music store, and then the next like service-ish job that I worked was for AMC Theaters.
That's
I
right. You're a
knew
movie
you were a
theater
movie
boy.
boy.
And I, to this day, I loved that job. Like there's like a list of like 5 jobs that I always wanted to work just to say that I did, and I've worked almost all of them except for one, and it's just not going to be in the cards for me. Maybe when Becky's running the dog farm, if we ever get to have retirement.
Do you not know what this 5th job is that he's interested in?
Oh, I would love to work in a record store. I've never worked in a record store. When I first moved to Tempe, I tried to work at Zia, and I just didn't know Dewan then. If I would have known Dewan then, I would have been a shoo-in.
Everybody's in.
I mean, that dream is alive in San Diego still. We went to
a speakeasy cocktail bar that had a record store in it.
Next time we go, let's go.
I offered it. You said Denver instead.
I don't remember that being the option. No, we decided on Denver because you've never been, and I think it's a really fun place, and you should. It's going to be a fun time.
Do you know when you're going?
Yeah,
in October.
Nice. That's soon.
Yes,
it is soon.
Wow, you're good at calendars.
It's all the way to September now. It's crazy.
It is crazy. But I was going to say, I feel like working in those kind of jobs gets you used to a level, like a speed that isn't seen in a lot of places, and it toughens your skin a lot. So I feel like if I hadn't worked at McDonald's and I hadn't worked at AMC, that the kind of volume that I see at the current craft beer bar that I work, if I saw it with no context, it would probably just make me shit myself. Like, what do you do? What do you do when you see a literal, like, it's
a wall of people?
You see there are people waiting for you to get what they want. And the longer that they're in that line, the more angry they're not angry, but like as a person with Catholic guilt and anxiety, the longer somebody's waiting in my line, the angrier they are at me.
Yes.
Yeah, it's all your fault.
Like I'm already not a human to them to begin with. So if I have to make them wait 5 minutes to get service,
straight to hell.
But is that your fascination too with fast food?
I know. Well, yes.
Like from a service level kind of stuff where it's like, it was crazy for me at McDonald's. And I think about it in my nerdiest, stupid moments when I'm in a drive-through line. I'm like, I've been sitting here for 5.5 minutes. And I know that their metrics are
all the alarms are going off.
I know what it looks like. And I swear to God, if I'm sitting in this line and there isn't a fresh batch of fries coming my way, because if I'm sitting in line for 5 minutes, and that means that the 7-minute turnover on the freshest fries, you know about that, eclipsed. Right? Or is that a thing everywhere?
It's a thing everywhere to some extent that has fries. You can't hold
like
them
when I worked
long.
at McDonald's, maybe it's because it was a new location and they really cared. They were like, they were like, yo, if there's not a fresh batch of fries dumping every 7 minutes, we're gonna have problems.
So my experience with fast food is more recent than that. Was managing at Cane's, and it was volume that puts like that metric
is crazy
to you literally had to have fries cooking constantly when we were busy. Like you couldn't.
It was overcooked fries for days.
You could not be cooking. Like it would be. We had 4 baskets dedicated to fries, and you had 2 going at any given moment, and you were never. It was never more than 3 minutes without new fries coming out.
Which makes sense, Frank. Because the fries at Cane's are hot garbage.
They're really bad.
Well, it's because once they reach you, they're soggy-ish.
Because they're like they're the worst. Like crinkle cut fries are the worst fries.
They don't do good. And then just like the sheer volume numbers, like fast food's interesting because you're talking about so much front loaded machine operated prep where you've got, it's just mass. It's so massive. It's not real. It's not real food.
I agree with you from what I've seen, like there is something that like leaving, like after working at McDonald's and like seeing how your favorite childhood food was made was like, yikes.
But those nuggets though
that are kept warm for so long in those disgusting yellow tinted trays.
The yellow tinted trays that I've that's not, let's like Cane's, they don't have that stuff. Like that's not a thing, but like
they try to be cute at McDonald's.
Seeing the weird like TikTok videos.
I
love.
Oh my God! Are you talking about the dude that goes live while he's on shift? Like while he's just doing. Oh,
the Taco Bell kid, the kid at Wendy's, the kid at McDonald's. Like anytime I can see behind the scenes fast food, I'm watching it and then I'm thinking I should never eat that again.
And then I go eat that right now. Yeah. So the same guy that got a PhD in hamburgers.
Hamburgerology. Thank you.
That same dude. I think because he was a couple years older than me. Before he went to McDonald's, he was working at Taco Bell, or might have been in between or whatever. I was like, so which is worse in your, like, from what you've seen?
Yeah.
Who are you?
Who handles food the worst?
Why do you want to know this?
Why don't you want to know this?
It's just for fun.
It's called science. If you would get your PhD in hamburgerology.
Also, you've been married to me. Like, you know how my brain works. So you think I want to know these things.
That way when he goes back, he knows to, like,
I want to know that magic isn't real.
Spoil it for me.
I want them to turn the lights on after the Disneyland ride. He said Taco Bell, hands down. He's like, don't ever eat their tacos, like the ground beef tacos.
Oh, they're so good.
I can't believe that it took until getting COVID and like getting past COVID to finally get a Taco Bell taco again, a proper one.
Oh.
I think it was like 2 months ago. I started like going back and getting some tacos, and it just tastes like my childhood.
Yeah, you were really into me getting you a frozen Baja Blast when you had COVID. Which
I told them about it too.
Frozen Baja Blast.
Which I was like also still getting over having COVID. So like my desire to try to find a drive-through and get you a Baja Blast was quite low.
As we are wont to say in this house, a baby is a baby. So we say that about
like,
the
there's a Taco
ourselves,
Bell
but
less than a mile away from you. That's not even like a finding thing. It's just like
okay,
well, not all of them have the
though?
Frozen Baja Blast.
Yeah, they do.
Okay, you say this because Jonah and I were established.
We're about to fight.
I went to that drive-through because you and I share a lot of things, and a Taco Bell drive-through is one of them.
Yeah.
So I went through that drive-through 2 times in a row, and both times, I think it was 2 days in a row. Rather, sorry, 2 times in a row. It's like circle back around.
Please now.
And I felt like the McDonald's ice cream machine meme, where I was like, "Oh, can I get a frozen Baja Blast?" Like, sorry, the machine's down. It's like we have this nasty cherry one that tastes like
Take everything out of the cherry side of the machine and fill it with the Baja Blast formula.
Like, it seems to me that you have a large amount of cherry left, but no Baja. That should tell you everything you need to know.
No one wants the cherry. No. Yeah. That's fair.
Well,
I guess if it's broken, if they don't have it, but they all have the little twisty machines.
Yeah.
The little freezer spinners.
I had just like sworn off soda for a really long time. Isn't that what Hawk only drinks now is soda?
Who?
The Hawko?
Mostly, yeah. He's a soda boy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that used to be me too.
I'm trying to think.
He doesn't really drink a lot of alcohol.
Not a ton, no. Enough Diet Coke to kill a lesser man.
Yeah.
So I made like a deal with myself. Like, if I'm drinking more beer, then I'm not going to drink soda because I only want to have one of these bad things.
Sure,
for
one
me.
evil sparkling.
Only
And
one vice.
I'm a full send person, so if I'm into it, I'm really into it. But anyway, so I finally caved when I had COVID. I was like, I just want to have a Baja Blast before I die. It was the best
one is to do.
It was the best worst thing of all time, and I still find myself now craving a Baja Blast.
Well, in that moment, you went from being a Baja boy to a Baja man.
Well, you had a pretty horrible tragedy happen to you with Baja Blast recently.
Oh my God, yeah. Because I used
Did you
fast
Baja
food.
Blast too hard?
Maybe the Baja is the blast we had along the way. No, I was using fast food for its intended purpose. And I was in a rush and I didn't have time to like go get like a meal. So there was a Taco Bell near the venue that I was working at. So I go through the drive-thru, and I'm like, oh my God, like you're going to have like, I'm doing all right. I can have a soda today. Also, you're going to be up for a while. Like, whatever. It's time to re-up on some caffeine. So I ordered a Baja Blast. And you know what? I'm going to splash out. I'm going to make it a large. And I did. I'm so excited for this Baja Blast. I get my food.
This sizing at Taco Bell, though, I know this because I was just going through their like pricing sizes recently. You can get like a small for like $2.10, or you get a large for $2.30. Like, they only charge like 10 cents more for like twice the amount of drink. So like, if you're gonna get a soda,
well, if you're gonna
Get
get
the large.
diabetes,
Yeah.
go all the way.
It's what you
go whole
it's
diabetes.
basically just what you guys always say, it's the value.
Yeah. 2 spicy potato tacos and 30 cents.
Yeah. What's the 30 cents in spicy potato currency?
It's the cheese.
Like 30 like
It
shreds.
is the cheese.
The individual,
It's the 10 strands of cheese.
the Play-Doh shreds of Taco Bell cheese, because that cheese is not. I don't know what it is. It's so good though.
So you got a large.
I was supposed to. I got my order and I was on autopilot, and I was kind of like it was a stressful day, so like I just boogied, and I took a right onto the road and realized like, oh shit, like I left. I was like, you know what though, like you have 15 minutes of wiggle room here, like just turn around and go get it. So I did. I flipped a U and I went back and parked to go inside to the lobby. Their lobby was closed because of staffing shortages. And then I saw that their drive-through line, since I'd been there, had doubled in size, and I was like, I'm not gonna get the Baja Blast today.
I'm gonna have to Baja Blast.
I am not having what some would call a Baja Blast.
This is a Baja tragedy.
So then I went back to the venue and I ate sadly in my car and drank my water.
Gross.
Disgusting.
And then I went inside
Like
and
a
I was
cooler.
like, do you guys have a soda gun? Do you have a Diet Coke? Like, I had the lesser,
Do you drink Diet Coke for your girlish figure or for actual
Aspartame?
enjoyment
I drink
of aspartame?
Coke Zero because I'm an adult.
That's wrong. We thought about this before, but not in a live context. We thought about this via carrier pigeon. Coke Zero is not good.
I agree. I was not, so in the same vein of having a 5 almonds a day mom, I was not allowed to drink any kind of juice or soda growing up at all.
I like
and
that
if
juice
I was
and
allowed to
soda are
drink
in the same
soda,
category.
Sugar-wise, though?
but like not really,
Yeah.
from like a sugar perspective, whatever.
That's
But like
fair.
doesn't really matter, but we were only allowed to drink diet soda when we drank soda. So like now as an adult, I cannot drink regular soda. I don't like how it makes my teeth feel. It makes it feel like my
Whoa.
teeth are like coated in like some kind of slime. And like I don't really drink soda either way, but if I must drink a soda, I will only drink diet soda because I just like can't handle the sugar content of a
Like how
soda.
you said must.
Must is the
Yeah.
what's happened?
Usually I'm in a
my
situation where I need caffeine and I'm like driving a car and I'm at a gas station.
You
and
had
I
one in an
don't
airport once.
Yeah, like I don't know, like dire situation where like maybe
Okay.
their like selection of tea is very poor. I don't want a gas station coffee.
She
And
doesn't know.
I just like, which
Gas
like
station
now
coffee's
there's
so
like
good.
AHA
She doesn't
and
know.
like
Joe. She doesn't.
there's like caffeinated sparkling water. Like there's more options
Yeah.
now. But like this was like 10 years ago me where I was like driving
10
a lot.
years ago was the last time you were forced into a diet soda.
Tell me without telling me.
Maybe.
I'm joking. It's a fearful marriage.
I love this.
I
Can't tell anybody to listen to this one.
the growing up with the different. It's funny because I feel like
I grew up in a diet soda house.
Yeah, I grew up in a. Health was never a top concern in my family. There would be like seasons of like diet soda drinking, but it was never like you can't have sugar soda. It's a funny common thread amongst the three of you where I'm like, I just drink regular ass Coke like a normal human.
Growing up, I drank regular ass soda the entire time. That was the problem. I used to be like a 244 ounces a day Circle K QT guy.
What else did you need?
Like, by the way, just so that it's canonical, QT is the best gas station in Arizona, hands down, no contest.
Yeah, that's pretty fair.
That's
Thank you.
true.
Looking at you, Becky.
I didn't know that we had to have an opinion on what the best gas station was until I met
It's a
you.
safe space, Becky.
It's where John was dropped off.
I just keep getting left here, and I don't really understand why.
Well, there's
but
that
it feels
sign that
good.
says that you can, so
Yeah,
you
it's
do.
a safe place.
Yeah, so I
What's your favorite gas station rolly food?
before QT decided to get all hipster and have a kitchen there. I was all, and I still am, the spicy chicken taquito.
Oh, the spicy chicken's a good one.
Man, again, these things that I like just ate so much of, and I was like, man, I'm probably dying, and it has nothing to do with what I'm eating all the time. My stomach is just, I'm constantly in pain as I eat a taquito with a tear on it. Like,
I've never eaten a gas station food. Becky, have you ever put a gas station food in your body?
No, I like the bold Chex Mix. That's like my gas station food
Adventurous.
that I like to buy. Not regular Chex Mix, the bold
So
kind.
much
'Cause
flavor.
I don't think it does anymore, but for a while, the bold Chex Mix was the one that came with small Ritz crackers, and that was something that I thought was superior to regular Chex Mix.
and then COVID happened, and they took it away.
Thanks, Obama.
Like, if we were just, if more people would adopt the Communist Party, there would be more Ritz.
Also, this is the first time that I've encountered your podcast where I've been properly fed before partaking in it in any way, shape, or form, and it hits different. Because most of the time,
You're satiated.
most of the time when I'm editing your show, it's like I have coffee, but I haven't ate anything.
Oh,
'Cause
no.
I'm weird, and I sometimes eat breakfast, and sometimes I don't. And lately, I've been eating, what is it, the Trader Joe's. They have like a snack size PB&J. Like it's like a
Like
a Cliff Bar.
Uncrustable? Like a Lunchable?
It's like a granola bar, but the oat outside is
What?
peanut butter flavored, and then the inside is like grape jelly flavored.
Okay.
It's
And
It's
it
a
pairs
granola
really
bar?
like a
well.
Nutrigrain bar if it was peanut butter and jelly flavored.
It pairs really
Is
well
it
with my
crispy like a
coffee.
Nutrigrain bar?
It's like a similar texture. Nutrigrain bars
No,
are not
those are the
crispy. You're
soft
thinking
ones.
you're thinking of Nature Valley.
Oh, yeah.
Nutrigrain are like the ones with like the fruit filling and
They're
like
like
the
Fig
oat
Newtons,
outside.
but they're masquerading as food.
Yeah. I don't know if they still make Nutrigrain bars, but that's what it is.
No, they definitely do make Nutrigrain bars. They're very
It's a
soft.
peanut butter and jelly
But peanut
flavored
Boomers
Nutrigrain bars.
exist. They
Nature
I
Valley
think they're
bars.
gross. I tried one and I was like, I hate this. I never want to eat this again. But John thinks that they're delicious.
they pair really well with my coffee, but most of the time I like don't even have them when I'm editing the show. And then you're talking about all these amazing places that you've been, and you're like
Chicken
interviewing
taquitos.
industry like stars and professionals. And I said that made it sound like I was sarcastic, but I wasn't.
All your guests before us, lame.
No, like,
like-
You told me I was going to be
the
a
amount,
star.
I told her I was gonna be a star. No one tricked me. I am a star. No, it's just nice to like be on the show and not be starving and be like, God damn these people.
I know that's how you truly feel about us, and that's fine.
God damn these people.
Before we wrap up, we have to come back to Thanksgiving.
Oh, man.
Oh, yeah.
Because when I tell you that Becky does, and specifically Friendsgiving, because we've got to experience this multiple years, she goes above and beyond in
That's
a
a deep
way
longing look at me. Like it was like, yeah, multiple years. Yes.
that I just like, I can't even put it to words. Like, can you walk us through your Friendsgiving?
Oh, man. Okay. So I have cooked a lot of Thanksgiving dinners in my life, and that is a whole conversation that could be another sidebar. But I've had a passion for making Thanksgiving meals. And then when John and I started dating, it was like my first experience since I'd moved away from home of having like a family that I could go have Thanksgiving with. Because prior to that, I kind of was always just like making my own little ramshackle Thanksgiving because I moved out of my home state when I was 18. And I love John's family dearly, and I love his mom, and she's a wonderful woman, but like their Thanksgiving is a lot of Boston Market pre-made, pre-sliced turkey, and
you
then
mispronounced flawless.
well, yeah. And like there's nothing wrong with that, but after my first Thanksgiving with John's family, I was like, I love my own like traditional food too much, and I want to do it. So I was like, I'm going to throw a Friendsgiving next year. And like, it started as just like a thing of it's going to be me and John and his sister and a few other people. And I think
Low stakes.
you guys maybe were at like the second one we ever did.
Whoa.
I don't think it was the first one because I think the first one was really just like 3 or 4 people.
She
But
wanted to have it
I
right by the
don't
time you guys were there.
have the ability to edit my menu. And so when I first like was like, oh, I'm going to do this, I was like, well, I have time, so I can prep this in advance. I can totally make 8 to 10 dishes by myself for a group of 4. We'll have leftovers. And like, I did it and it was horrible. Like, it was so much work and it took me all week. And like, I was dying in the kitchen, like freaking out, like couldn't get everything done at the same time. It was terrible the first time I did it, but I was like really determined. So the next year rolled around and I was like, I'm going to do it better. So this is where like the spreadsheet started. So then it was like, okay, I've realized my mistakes. I'm a type A person. I'm not going to let this happen again. So I was like, okay, I'm going to write down all of the recipes I want to make, what temperatures they need to be cooked at, how many burners do I have on my stove. I am very fortunate that I was able to get a double oven range top, like nothing in the wall. It's nothing fancy, but it's just, I have like a 50-50 split oven. So I at least have 2 ovens I can set to different temperatures.
What's your dream, by the way? You want the...
we can't talk about my dream kitchen on this episode. It will... That is another.
We'll let it bring that back. That's another episode.
Sorry, because it's almost every single Thanksgiving is when you're like, oh, well, this is what my dream kitchen
I mean,
like, as she's
one
cooking
day
and like
of the year,
sweating.
like, another $30,000 in this kitchen.
Yeah,
and
there's
we'd really be cooking.
like really
we just need to
outvalue
fly
this
down
house.
and build
Like
this renovation. It would really pop off.
There's no way. But so I got into the system where I was like, okay, if I write down everything I want to make and every burner that I need, and I can figure out exactly like how much time I have. And then once I pull the turkey out of the oven, what can go in? So then I had to start meticulously like cutting recipes because I was like, well, this one has to be at 350. This one has to be at 375. This one has to be 425. I only have 2 ovens. So one of them's got to fucking go. So I was like, well, then if I'm taking, the...
you are the weakest.
And by the
link.
way,
Goodbye.
she's having these conversations not in her brain.
wow.
She's sitting like I'm just waking up, like having coffee, and she turns, she goes, if
Yeah. Or like a lot of like Jon would have to make the decisions. I'm like, okay, if you can choose, like you could only have green beans or Brussels sprouts, what are you having? Like make a choice because one of them's got to
how
go.
severe the conversations were.
Oh, very severe.
It was
They
almost
still
just
are.
like, okay, we have to give one of the dogs away.
I mean, because it's hard,
Is it
right?
the Brussels dog or the green bean dog?
Yeah.
You're like,
So that has like evolved over the years where like now I do have like a pretty solidified plan spreadsheet. It's good and bad because I have like now accumulated this sort of set core of like, I think it's 10 items, not including like a gravy and a dessert and like a few other like side dishes that I don't consider to be like full items that are like, and it's mostly a vegetarian menu since that was how I ate. Like I make a turkey, but pretty much everything else is like butternut squash stuffed shells, a lot
Which
of
is insane because butternut squash stuffed shells is a freaking entree.
Well, that was my vegetarian entree when we weren't eating turkey. But then once we started eating meat again, I couldn't give up.
The shells are so good.
Guys, this woman makes an entree as a side. Do you know
Shells
how
are
much
good.
time this takes?
Right. But then so like I have
How
to
many
cut
audiobooks
that.
have you listened to this year?
37. That's the right number, I think. I do that. I do usually a green bean. I do I do mashed potatoes, and then I like to do some other kind of roasted root vegetable side because my family always did that. I do a turkey. I do a cornbread, a half and half cornbread and white bread stuffing. I think that's the most of the things. I'm sure I'm missing. Oh, I
And
do
then
a
Kristen brings the little
glazed
biscuits that look like
whole
penises.
shallot. That's like Kristen's favorite.
She brings the
Kristen
That's our family recipe.
Yeah, the glazed shallots are a must from Kristen.
So good.
And I
And
try
that
to do
was
one
a
new
year
thing a
one
year.
recipe that's made it all the way.
Yeah. But the problem is that I'm now at a point where I like cannot sacrifice any recipes, but I like to make one new thing a year. So then now I'm stuck in this hole where it's like every year I try to make something new and I like don't have room for it in the plan, but I do
you
it anyway.
expand it out,
But-
and you subcontract the work.
I was going to say what has like really changed the game is now like you guys coming to Thanksgiving where it's not that I don't trust other people in my kitchen. I have no problem delegating tasks, like especially things like peeling potatoes. But I have had some bad experiences
With me.
like with things like asking a friend. No, it was not you. Like
heard
asking
the
a
tofu
friend
story.
to mash my mashed potatoes for me, and her just like refusing to stop. And I was like, "You're gonna overmash them. You're gonna overmash them." And she just mashed them and mashed them and mashed them until they were like
You can overmash mashed
gummy
potatoes.
beyond
yeah, they
belief.
get
Oh,
gooey.
yeah.
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Activate the starch.
That's
to-
why you don't get
you
to
can
mash
tell-
potatoes.
Anyway.
But
You can over
Yeah.
mash anything, including like regular protein. So if you in like Chinese cooking, they'll make like fish balls, and it's literally taking fish and just until it gets put together again. It turns back into a like hard goop, and you can do that with pretty much anything.
yeah.
Okay. Today
But-
I learned.
having you guys come into our lives was great because there are a few things that I cannot do. I am not good at carving like a turkey, like once it's done cooking, which Jonah has graciously done the last few years. You have attended our Thanksgiving.
I'm not very good at it. Spoilers,
You're
but
wonderful.
I know how to do it.
I don't like gravy. I don't know why. I just can't make myself like it. So making gravy is really challenging for me because I don't want to taste it as it goes because I don't like it. So Courtney has made the gravy at my Friendsgiving for the last several
It's so
years. And it's like the best thing ever. And it's so great because it's like one of those last minute items that you really can't do till the turkey's done. And it really stresses me out to try to do it when like, you know, everything else is like at its critical point where I've my 4 burners are all going and there's things in my oven and I'm trying to get everything on the table. I'm like, I cannot possibly make a gravy. I don't even want to taste it. It's so gross to me. So like,
It's not that surprising that you don't like it because it's just like meat essence, and growing up not eating meat, like it is literally just like
It's
concentrated
meat, butter,
flavor.
and
You're
flour,
just, like,
which is just like
yeah. And it's like, I'll eat like a floured and then like chicken breast. Like I'll eat like an Italian style, like pounded out chicken breast that's coated in flour and cooked in butter.
Sure.
So it's not like those things together I don't like, but it's just something about gravy, like just gives me the heebie-jeebies. Like I can't, like when I see it solidified in the fridge the next day as leftovers, I cannot handle like when the fat drifts out. Yeah. So like, but you guys have been like,
Interesting.
it's
true
little
blessings.
Wait, how do you
meat
Thanksgiving.
liquid cubes?
How do you feel about chicken stock?
I mean, like I'll put it in things, but I don't want to know about it.
Is it on par with like GameStop
Yes.
stock?
Exactly. It's chicken
diamond hands
stock.
to the moon.
I see stonks. I see what you were trying to do there.
And they don't always land.
Wall
They don't always land.
Street bets on chickens.
But yeah, I think that's my, but it's been like something that has grown to be like my big thing I do every year. And this year, my great accomplishment that I made was buying the pasta shells in August for my Thanksgiving dinner because
they're
for some
always out when you need them.
Yeah, I can't ever
They've been
find them.
acquired.
I had to pay $15 last year to buy one singular box of pasta shells off Amazon because it was the only place I could find them. And like, I shop for these things weeks in advance, guys. Like this is my plan, right? I have an Excel spreadsheet. This isn't like me walking into the grocery store Wednesday night before
Actual
Thanksgiving trying to
Excel
find things.
spreadsheet, like you've got a real.
Yes.
It is the most type A approach.
I've seen the list. Have you not seen the list?
I've seen the timeline.
Will
I
you
just
share your list?
Sure.
Like after the show?
Yeah, I think the best one I have is probably I usually do a like physical written out piece of paper every year because that ends up being the easiest way for me to
I've
map
seen
it out
that
on the
timeline,
burners.
especially because you draw diagrams of the burners, which I.
That's my favorite part.
You're
Okay,
just
because
like-
this is but my burners are different sizes, and I have one that works the best because like everybody has the one burner that has the double thing, and I also have an electric range, which is unfortunate for my life, but my house is not wired for or like we don't have propane in the neighborhood, so I
Yep.
like or natural gas,
Yeah.
So I like can't have an
I
electric.
was going to let you ride with the
or a
propane because
gas
I was going to
range.
let people picture the trailer that we're in.
Yeah, I know, sorry. We don't have natural gas in the neighborhood.
Don't
so
even have
it's
Wi-Fi.
like it's challenging because I have 2 small burners and 2 big burners, and it's really hard when you have like multiple things that need to be on the stove at the same time. Something has to end up going in the Instapot inevitably. Like that was my backup last year. I think the potatoes or something got cooked in the Instapot.
It was the alternate roast vegetable that was thrown into air fryer. I remember that.
Well, no, and last
no.
year I tried doing these like thin sliced sweet potato stacks.
Yeah, no, remember
And they
she
did
the
not.
vegetable stacks?
They
Yeah.
did not come out. Like they did not get crispy. It was a fail, and it was very upsetting.
But you put yourself out there.
Yeah.
Which is really
That's
awesome.
why I only do one new one a year. Because then if it's a fail, I have like 10 other things that I
Only
know are
one-
good.
There's one failure allowed.
Yeah.
Me.
Well, it's not like they were inedible. They just like weren't. They didn't slap.
You are way more hard on yourself than anyone else ever will be.
No, they were still
That's
good.
true.
Yeah.
The amount of times that people have left and you're like, oh man, that didn't,
Yeah, but
that
they
wasn't
weren't.
good.
They
Like
weren't
everyone loved what
gonna
you cooked.
replace something else. That's the thing.
Yes.
The core menu only has room for so many things, and nothing's getting replaced unless the new thing is like so good.
I feel like you're so close to just being in the industry.
True.
There's nothing I want less.
You're like that sounds
Also
like
true.
hell.
I just got a taste of working from home for the first time, and if I'm going to change my job, it's going to be to work from home.
To not go to a kitchen elsewhere, but be just in your kitchen all
Yes.
the time.
Please.
That makes a lot of sense.
Professional recipe tester.
Ooh, speaking of recipe testers, have we shared your recipe with them?
That's not a full question.
You know the recipe I'm talking about.
No, I don't know. That's have I shared
The recipe you're like the most proud of in the past 6 months
I literally don't know
that
what
you
you're talking about.
wrote down in your book.
All I can think about is my grilled broccoli. That's just broccoli with some seasonings on it.
Becky
But
recently,
she's proud of it, damn it.
Oh, my grilled
Yes.
cheese. I
this
just
woman
stole it from a restaurant and figured it out.
No, you didn't steal it. You were
You
inspired by
culturally
it.
appropriated it.
Yeah. No, you're so in love with this grilled cheese that you're craving it so hard, and this is last month, or right?
Yeah, it has like 4 ingredients. It's not that hard.
Anyway,
One of the ingredients is grill. The other one is cheese.
Yeah.
Well-
What is this
We
recipe?
need to know about it.
It's from a food truck turned restaurant in Chicago called the Fat Shallot that catered my first wedding, which is how I originally fell in love with them.
All right.
I
them-
was the cook in the food
Yes.
truck.
Obviously, this is not to Jon.
Full circle.
But yeah,
Wow, I
no,
want to
it was
read that novel.
Yeah,
a food truck that my dad had found in Chicago and really loved, and then I went and had it and thought it was delicious. So when I was planning my big
Do they
wedding and
Do
whatever,
grilled cheese specifically?
they do a grilled cheese that is it's a sourdough, Munster cheese, caramelized onions, spinach, and I think that might be it. And then there's they have a good tomato soup that goes with it.
yeah.
Sounds good.
It's
is
really
the
good.
food truck? It's not like a grilled cheese food truck. They just have grilled
No,
cheese.
No,
it's
I
like a
thought-
sandwich
on the-
food truck, and
Okay.
this is one of their signature things. And then now they have restaurants in Chicago, a couple actual standing stores. And when we were last there in June, I was super pumped to go get this sandwich from this place. And the place that they have a freestanding thing is they cater to business people.
Lincoln
in downtown,
Hall.
Lincoln Hall in downtown Chicago, and this place is open until 5 p.m. and it was Friday, and we were okay, we're gonna book it over
Staying
there.
in a hotel close. My brother's
Yeah.
getting married in the heart, downtown.
But
Yeah.
unfortunately, this place caters to the business crowd, so the Fat Shallot was closed by the time we got there at 3 p.m. on a Friday. They're only open for the lunch rush. And
Right.
so this is
Big-
the second time we've been to Chicago that I
Big
haven't
oops.
gotten to have this sandwich. And so I just was I have to figure out how to make it. And I did.
And you did, and you, my sister gifted you
Yeah.
a
A recipe book, so
recipe
I can
book.
write down my 3 recipes I've ever
and you.
made.
I was gonna say, well, you take
That's one. What are the other two?
yeah, but what did you name?
Oh, the Fat Elvis.
Oh,
Oh, sweet bus.
The pug. What are the other 2 that you wrote down?
I don't know off
Oh,
the top
okay.
of my head.
Anyway, I just wanted to put you on blast for the second time because the food truck outside of my work, I'm trying to get them to make the recipe that she wrote down so that I
She's
can have it.
just
can you make this?
Can you
for
just do
me?
I was
this
like,
so
I don't
have
know if this is
access?
achievable for you guys on the level you need it to be, but if it was, that'd be dope, right?
And as a home
we
cook,
actually are
yeah.
working on a grilled cheese. Send it over.
There's nothing that terrifies me more than sending my recipes to actually trained people who cook food.
Kind
And
of like how you're so nervous when people come over to cook food for us.
yeah, to sharpen all my knives.
That's what it was. That's what I forgot earlier.
You forgot to sharpen the knives?
No, I just had to sharpen them all because you guys were coming over. I didn't want you to judge me for my dull knives if they weren't sharp enough. So I was sharpening all the knives earlier during my break from work.
It's just in the...
Oh,
That's what I was saying. Before you got home from work, I was like, you guys, she gets so adorable, and you're
I also
coming
cleaned
over.
the grill.
Jonah cleaned it better.
No, I cleaned the outside of the grill.
Oh,
I did not
It
clean the
got a
outside
little
of the grill
gross.
because that's a
that's a you job.
commitment.
Yeah.
It really was when I had steel wool.
It's not a me job.
It took 5 minutes.
That's still more minutes than I'd be like
In the
that's-
108 degrees.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm like,
And
that's
Yeah,
a
also, again, I
brutal
said it outside,
minutes.
and I'll say it again here. Invite yourself over anytime to use our grill. It is mutually beneficial.
Yep.
I will. Yeah,
Our
the broccoli
community-
ain't gonna grill itself. You know what I'm saying?
Our community grills in the apartment complex are squirrely.
yeah.
Filled with squirrels.
Yeah, thanks, Dad, for buying us a grill for Christmas. I had never grilled in my life, so
Thanks,
it's
Dad.
been a new skill I'm acquiring.
Daddy, that's not my daddy.
Daddy, that's
Everyone
not
should
my
grill
daddy.
broccoli. I didn't know you could do that, and I think it's the best way to eat broccoli.
Interesting. That's a standard. That was a. I don't want to say standard. It was a recurring hit at the last restaurant that I was
It's
at.
so good.
Was grilled broccoli. They would blanch it and then
No, I don't
rest it in some ball and then throw it on the grill so some ball caramelizes and
Oh, I just grill it from being raw.
Didn't we get that, or you got that idea because we went to Maple and Ash in the Brussels sprouts? Or no?
No, I
you
think I
didn't like the
literally
Brussels
just said I
sprouts.
love broccoli. I wonder if I can make it on the grill.
I
And
like
then I
this.
was like, I can.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Well,
You got anything else? Any more questions?
I mean,
We
I'm
may
sure there's
never get to do this again.
no. We'll have
Yeah,
to.
we're never going to see you
whenever
again.
you
We'll use
want.
their grill. We'll use their grill one more time. It'll be
Okay.
the last time we see them.
It'll be the breakup.
You're just going to grill, take all the food, and leave.
and be like, it's been real.
We're just coming in the gate and out the gate.
When this episode gets the lowest, views of any episode views. I don't think it works like that.
It's just
Listens,
weird. You
downloads.
never expect to come to Tempe and meet celebrities. You know?
I like. I like teasing the concept where there's like one person that's like watching it and they're like, I don't see anything. It's just this TV show is shitty.
Thank you for viewing this podcast.
I don't know. It could have stopped recording. I have no idea.
That'd be perfect.
But heart's in the right place. I do appreciate you guys letting us have the worst reviewed episode on your show.
Everyone review bomb it now. Just go in with
you
1
won't.
star.
No.
And don't forget, Ted Cruz ain't your son.
Actual cannibal, Ted Cruz.
Did you hear that? There's a working Baja Blast freezing machine. So we gotta go.
Into the back.
Ooh.
Thank you for listening to Love Food, Hate Money. This episode and every episode is edited by Jon Watkins of Feathered Fiction Studios.
There he is.
He also does original music. Thanks, Jon.
Thanks,
Hope
buddy.
you like the outro.
It's great. He keeps improving it. We couldn't ask for better for free.
On the note of communism,
best
if
price.
you all would like to support him, you have to support us in
Give
true
us your
communist
money
fashion.
so we can give him some money.
That is true.
Come connect with us on social
Otherwise,
media.
Becky will have to start working for her beer.
If Becky hears that I need to buy one more cable with my own money, she's gonna leave me. And you've heard how much she loves me. That'd be a tragedy.
We're starting a GoFundMe for Jon's cables, okay? Just be on the lookout for that.
Please, for the love of
We're
God.
gonna go fund Jon's cable addiction. Yeah, connect with us on social media. We're selling shirts still if you want that. I don't know. You guys send me mixed signals on the internet and I have anxiety. And thank you so
Those
much
aren't
for
related,
listening.
but
Shh. She's
thank
trying
you
to
all
sell.
very, very much.
Bye.
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 I made a mess.